Hello, we're doing another one of these that pops up at once every several generations apparently. So it's something you've already seen before, but first I'm going to show you something completely different. This is a little mini NES thing, the NES Classic Edition that was produced by Nintendo back in, the tail end of 2016. They made so few of these that they were hard to come by, and then they stopped making them because they wanted you to play NES games on your Switch, which was the newest hotness at the time, I guess, I suppose. So I have one of these. It's a wonderful piece of technology. Lets you play NES games that are built into the system. And if you are one of those hacky types, you could probably do more. I didn't do more, I just kept it as is because, well, I want this thing to work for a good long while, so that'd be a good reason to keep it in one piece. And yeah, that's all I got. By the way, we're going to do this whole thing one-handed, so that's going to be fun because I don't know where I put the tripod. And there you go. And it's also a bit of a mess, but that's okay. Who cares? Anyways, I'm going to set this aside fast. And there we go. Yeah, thing of control is there. Fantastic. So this is the Gimmick. The VX Gaming Classic Series includes 620 games, game station with 2 controllers, VX Gaming by Volcano. You have your little Luigi, you have your little Mega Man, your Rockman. All of these presumably licensed games. Promise. Also, as you could tell, it's a knockoff NES system thing with knockoff NES system controller things. You oughta like how they got the generic model that you've seen everywhere. You gotta like how they just laid some text and art on top of the things. Like it's like a generic photo and just add some lazy logos on there. So whatever. Anyways, you got the VX Gaming logo on the side. You got aim, shoot, win, one piece, ages 3 and up. 2 game controllers, AV out, 8-bit games, compact and portable. Okay, so 620 games. I believe that number is suspect, but regardless, there, classic series, more licensed games. Promise. Specifications: classic 8-bit TV gaming station, 620 games, audio video cable included, plug and play micro USB input, and what's in the box is a VX Gaming Classic Series game station, 2 wired controllers, 1 AV cable, 1 DC adapter, and instruction manual. So not an HD console, it's using composite, presumably. Warning, stop playing for a short time if you experience pain in your hands and wrists. I imagine that'll be a thing. If, past experience is anything to go by. Do not expose this product or any of its components to water, fire, high temperatures, or damp areas. Do not disassemble this product. Choking hazard, small parts not for children under 3 years old. Don't toss it in a bin, recyclable. No sad onion. That's surprising. Warning, this product can expose you to chemicals, including shards. Okay. So this thing can apparently cause cancer. It's certainly causing some kind of deficiency, as I cannot speak at the moment. So, there we go. So, I'll pop this up. And, by the way, yes, we're doing it. The box is sliding away. Trying to, okay, we're going to do this then, aren't we? Okay. We're going to get some kind of product out. And I opened it the wrong way, so that's brilliant. Okay, so we got the little console there. We have Volcano, thank you for your support. Register and get up to 70% on selected items. Okay, cool. That's your instruction manual. Game station with 2 controllers and I'd imagine this is like, yeah, it's one of those things you open up and it folds and stuff, and at the very least it's in color for the most part. So operating instructions, yeah, blah 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 blah. That's in English. And you got the same thing in French, because, you know, this is the Le Province de Québec, and, you know, you have to have things en français, because that's the language of Quebec. Now, this is the console, the NES, fake NES thing. You got your power button, you got your reset button, presumably, your little LED thing, the logo on top. Your AV out, which is, you know, the AV composite stuff in your micro USB power, and 2 joystick slots, which look like the 9-pin connectors you'd find on your Sega Genesis or Atari system. So that'll be something, I guess, I suppose. Might as well dump the rest of this stuff. Just dump it. Who cares? So, that's your power adapter with micro USB, fairly cheap. There's your shitty AV cable. So I gotta hook this up to the DVD recorder if I want to record footage. And these are your wonderful, yeah. See, I'm already feeling the plastic. Even through the plastic, it's already feeling a bit light. Well, you know, I'm going to be fair. I'm going to be fair. I'm going to repeat myself until I get this plastic off. There we go. Okay, yeah, it is light. There is a bit of weight to it. The D-pad. Well, D-pad, I'll be fair, it feels like any aftermarket NES D-pad thing. And the buttons are kind of mushy, but they do click. Hopefully they function. And well, you know, you got, you know, 4 buttons, your B, your A, and equivalent turbo buttons, select and start. And yeah, you got the same thing for the controller, blah blah blah, and really flimsy cable there. So yeah, so I'm going to hook this up. We're going to sample some games. I'm sure as hell not going to go through all 620, because I suspect that we're not on the level here, but anyways. So yeah, we're going to switch to some gameplay footage now.
So there are an alleged 620 games on this here VX Gaming Classic Series retro game console Gimmick, all of which I'm sure are officially licensed, allegedly. In any event, a number of these are familiar NES games, Super Mario and such. Some are the usual Famicom fare that normally inhabit a number of these old-school multi-cart things. And then you have the aftermarket stuff, whether it be hacks of pre-existing games or original fare that's cheap and lame. In fact, there's more of the lame shit than there are quality NES titles, so you're not exactly getting, well, quality here. But there are some notable titles on here. First Batman game on the NES, Ninja Turtles Tournament Fighters, Rockman 1, Ninja Gaiden 3, to name a couple. So there's some gems to be found in the wild, whatever you want to call it. Now, of course, 620 is an exaggerated number, as by the time you hit the 300s, you start to notice some repeats, and as you go farther down the list, the system basically stops trying to fool you into thinking there are more games than there actually are. Okay, fine, whatever, right? It's to be expected, and there's no way they were actually going to fit 600 plus games on this thing unless it was a glorified emulator machine with a lot of space built in, which the VX is most definitely not. Instead, this is a rather low quality, low budget NES on a chip type deal. The kind of thing they used to build the old Famiclones around, or still do in some cases these days, which means regardless of whether you're plugging this into a modern high-definition television thing, or even a classic CRT unit, you're getting picture with saturated, sometimes inaccurate colors, and the sound replication is off by a pitch or two. I'm going to show a couple clips comparing footage on a Nintendo Entertainment System to the VX. Have a look. Yeah, not quite as clean, not quite as accurate. With some games, it's not quite as noticeable, but if you are going into this expecting pristine quality, you may want to lower your expectations just a tad bit. With that in mind, once more, you've got a bunch of games. You got some good games, you got some bad games, some games that exist for some reason. And yeah, look, whenever you buy one of these things in either plug-and-play mini console or even NES multi-cart form, it's always going to be a crapshoot as to whether the ROMs included on the system are worth a damn. Some might work fine, others might not. It's a risk you usually have to take when you buy these things, but on the surface level, even if they flip the numbers a bit and the crud outweighs the actual gems, there is some decent stuff to be found here if you're willing to put up with some imperfections and crud. As far as the included controllers are concerned, well, I'm not gonna lie, these are not exactly what I would call premium products. They feel rather light and cheap, but on the bright side, they do function properly and are fairly comfortable in the hands, or at least as comfortable as NES-style controllers would be in the hands. They even play well with tournament fighters, as I could pull off fireball motions on these things without much of a hitch, so that's high praise. The cords are of a sufficient length, and of course the drawback are the connectors being the 9-pin variants you'd see on Atari and Sega consoles, as opposed to the NES variants, so you're shit out of luck if you only use more proper NES controllers and such with this thing. Though I'd imagine if you had proper NES controllers, you'd probably also have proper NES hardware to play your games on, so this seems a bit excessive. But that's all I've got to say about that here, so let's get back to the live feed and close this up.
You know, it just occurred to me, we never really did an actual direct comparison, so let's compare the NES Classic Edition to the VX Gaming thing. Looks. Now you see the VX has the size advantage because it's slightly bigger than the NES Classic. Otherwise, you know, if this were an alternate universe, you know, you took this and you mirrored it pretty much so that everything was on the opposite end. And of course, you have different connectors. Of course, you know. Now, even though this is slightly larger, it is slightly lighter and cheaper and plasticier, and this one has a bit of weight to it because this one's designed by professionals, and this one, well, never mind. Anyways, we'll get that out of the way and we'll focus on this. And full disclosure here, so the front end of this video was actually recorded in 2021. I had bought this in 2021. I bought this last year. And we're recording the back end, the concluding portion of this Sunday Gimmick Table episode, whatever you want to call it, in 2022. So this was literally a year in the making, in which I recorded one piece, never got around to it. It just stayed in like boxes and shit like that, and finally got around to doing whatever. Anyways, so this is well worth waiting a year for. It's another one of those NES on a chip, multi-cart, multi-plug-and-play things. You know, a bunch of NES games, all of them officially licensed or whatever, you know, allegedly. And, well, you know, the quality isn't all that great, but, you know, you have a bunch of games on there, so you got a bit of variety, and, you know, not much else I could add there. And the controllers themselves are, I don't know. I've played with worse, but these aren't too bad, I guess. They function with nothing else, so that's about all I can really say towards that. And yeah, that's it, really. Not much else to it. You could get something like this off the Amazons or the AliExpress or Wish.com, I guess, or whatever aftermarket places sells these aftermarket game console things. And yeah. Anyways, that's all I got. So, yeah. Good night. Going to bed now. Bye.